About 24 pieces of wood jut upright from a jar sitting on a table. Lying beside the jar, a large section of a stiff green plant.
I have to make stuff with these hands. That's just part of this innate curiosity that's in all of us.
A woman with short, dark gray hair folds a strip of pale fiber.
To take something and transform it somehow into something else.
Multicolored fiber art hangs on a wall.
We want to add to our life. Every piece of kapa is part of that journey.
Outdoors, the woman pulls a long leafy branch from a tall shrub. Roen Hufford, 2023 NEA National Heritage Fellow. Working beside her yellow house, Roen hangs a strip of limp kapa about 8 inches wide on a horizontal bamboo pole holding other kapa strips. Waimea, Hawaii.
Kapa is beaten plant fibers that people wore, fashioned out of the inner bark of various plants that first immigrants to Hawaiʻi brought with them in their canoes. They wore it, they covered themselves when they slept, they wrapped the bones in them when people died, covered themselves when they got married, they welcomed their children by wrapping them in it. So kapa had many uses. It was a necessity.
Rolls of paper like kapa. Roen steps through a dense mass of tall plant stalks.
So we're looking for at least the size of a broomstick, the broomstick handle, or about 2 fingers. So I'll take out this one and this
With
one.
a power saw, she severs one stalk close to the ground.
I was born in Hawaii, and then I went to school in New York City.
She saws off the stalk's top leafy section.
That's what I want. I want it to come off. There was something that I missed by being away. Here's one. I came home, and as a result, I developed a clear fascination with the plants that were growing around me.
2 rolls of plant fiber strips, only a few inches in diameter, soak in a bowl of water.
There's always this part of us, the heart of being a Hawaiian, that you want to know what our ancestors went through, what life was like for people before Western contact. The making of kapa gives you an idea about what it was like. See how wide? Look at
She
that.
pounds a dense strip with a cylindrical tool. The strip is now wider.
In the late 50s and 60s, there was this cultural renaissance that took place in Hawaii.
White-haired Marie McDonald peels bark off a plant stalk.
My mother's colleagues who would beat kapa together. She had this abiding interest in anything that had to do with her ancestors.
This came before the ohe kapala, the bamboo printer.
A wall hanging.
So I beat one of her first students. I got to follow along, and pretty soon it rubbed off on me.
Roen beats plant fiber with wooden tools.
That's how it started.
Elsewhere, a young woman dances while wearing a yellow and gray kapa skirt.
In 2011, my mother had this great idea that we should really prove ourselves and show that we could make kapa that could be danced in by a halau, because the dancers originally had worn kapa. And so everybody committed themselves to beating one article to be danced in at the Merry Monarch Festival in Hilo.
Another dancer wears pink kapa.
This hadn't been done before.
Please welcome, Hello Okekuhi!
The Merry Monarch Festival is a hula competition.
Men and women wearing kapa.
It's a big deal.
They dance on a stage.
The hula that they had learned all of a sudden really meant something.
They swivel their hips, then kneel on the stage. Each dancer raises one arm skyward.
Then the audience.
Thank you all very much for keeping the tradition of kapa alive. Mahalo!
Back at home, Roen pulls a dry kapa strip from the drying pole.
Since that event, there's been more interest in the making of kapa. In order for me to take care of this great resource that my mother left me, there's so much more material that I could ever process by myself. And so I started a group.
Standing on her porch, Roen embraces a tall man.
Do you remember Kalimo?
Several people beat kapa strips.
On any given day where we're beating kapa together, somebody will do something just marvelous. Just pull it straight down. Yeah.
As an Indigenous artist, and the whole process from start to finish is the art.
The tall man smiles.
Kumu Roen, she's an open book. She was so gracious and welcoming.
She's really unique, both in her skill as well as her willingness to give and to teach.
It gets us to where we want to go quickly without too much hassle.
She carries legacy. This is an opportunity and a space that she's provided for this hui in the community to really walk in the footsteps of our ancestors.
Roen and a woman with curly brown hair smile as they beat strips of kapa side by side.
I never thought that I would be in the same place that my mother was.
One artist taps a small round section of bamboo against a piece of kapa, creating a series of circular designs. Alone now, Roen draws on a piece of kapa using a dark orange dye and what resembles a wooden pen.
When she stopped making kapa, she said to me, "Take the tools to your house. They're yours."
She cuts off a section from a thick green plant.
Every time I use something that was grown in the ground here and planted by my mother, I think of her.
She uses the plant to apply more dye.
I like to think that my grandmother, who didn't do this, would be pleased. So I always like to think that this connects me to my kupuna, to this place and to my ancestors.
She smiles, then continues to apply more designs, semicircles and dots, with the plant and wood tools.
For the student, the making of kapa gives them an identity. They've gained that connection to the past. They can take what they've learned and share it with other people. That's what it's about.
Kapa, dyed both pink and brown, hangs on a wall. In 2023, the National Endowment for the Arts presented Roen Hufford the NEA National Heritage Fellowship Award, the highest form of recognition for the folk and traditional arts by the United States government. For more information, visit arts.gov/heritage. A list of credits follows, including director and producer Olivia Marion. This film was produced by Hypothetical in association with the National Council for the Traditional Arts, presented by the National Endowment for the Arts.